Hi, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, the greatest YouTuber in my street, I think. In here we have an RC car. Not going to be a hobby grade one, more of a toy grade one, but very old nevertheless, and hopefully it might make for an interesting video. Now, I don't know what era this is from, whether it's, would it be 80s? Not too sure, but we can work all that out a little bit later in the video. But this would have been the kind of probably ideal gift for Christmas time, because back then these sort of things were quite expensive. And the reason I was drawn to this is because I do like my RC cars, but the Martini colour code is, I say colour code, that's going back from telecoms, colour scheme is, I think, the best colour scheme that exists. The white, the blue and the red just go so nice together. In fact, the whole branding of Martini is lovely. I absolutely love it. Proportional steering. Do you know what? This might actually be an okay one. Proportional steering. What that means is that normally on the cheap ones, when you go left, it goes fully left. When you go right, it goes fully right. And that's not nice. It doesn't feel good. If you want to take a long bend, you want to turn it just a little bit to the left. If you want to do a sharp bend, obviously you want the control to be able to do it sharp. So yeah, with this one, it's proportional, meaning you turn it a little bit, it will go a little bit, turn it a bit more, it will go a bit more. That's interesting. Oh, and proportional speeds, forward and reverse as well. Well, this is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Now, I purchased it off eBay 40. I'll flash up the listing. Oh, wow, they've even kept this. Switch to low gear for driving on up and down hills. A low gear, what on earth? Ah, so is that what it means by different speeds? Maybe not on the controller, maybe it's just on the car itself. Yeah, high and low, interesting. They don't seem to be doing much. When I turn the wheels, they seem to be freewheeling a bit. Excellent, right, okay. Oh, it's kind of slowly sprung. I thought that might be just grime, but I don't think it is. I think it's actually slowly sprung on purpose. Yeah, a bit of thought's gone into this. It's even got the trim on the controller. Right, so although it is like toy grade, it's a bit rusty there. It's definitely taken its elements from hobby grade. I'd say back in the day, this would have been quite a good one. That's novel. Never seen that before. A bumper to absorb the shocks. Right, let's get batteries in and see what it's doing. Right, lights on. Oh, yeah, the light's on, yeah. That's a bit hit and miss. Do you know what? I'm wondering if there's a bad switch in here and now it's just started to work. Okay, ooh, I think it's going to work. What on earth's going on? Right, let's put it in low gear. It's not going left and right. Is it only one-wheel drive? I think it's only driven on one wheel. Oh, that's not very nice. It's not going left and right. Oh, maybe the trim needs to be done. Well, it's all behaving very strangely, and it's certainly not working. So left and right's not working at all, and this just seems to be acting weird in here. So I'm wondering now whether we've got multiple problems. I'm thinking maybe the fact that it seems to be freewheeling a bit sometimes on that. Maybe the gears are on their way out. I think it's only one-wheel drive, and there's definitely something wrong with the steering. So let's take them both apart. Well, actually, should we take this one apart or should we just clean this one? I suppose realistically it's more likely going to be the car that's faulty. I might take them both apart though. Because it's definitely corroded down here, so it might be worth looking in here. Right, let's start in the car, I think. So we just have crosshead screws around the place. Right, here we go. Oh, nice. Look at these coils here just before the motor. This is certainly old. Got a dust on the inside there. Oh wow, it's got lights as well. Well, I didn't notice them light up, so I don't think they're working either. Little incandescent ones. That board looks similar, reminds me of that little, was it the little Porsche one that I did? I gave that to my brother. Because he remembers that from his childhood. Well, there's no broken wires. Well, I suppose to make it easier, let's unsolder it from here. Why have we got a capacitor just here as well? Oh, is that for the motor? That's for the front motor. So now, is the front motor not working? Do you know what it could be? Maybe the front motor's just got seized because it's been in the same position for ages. Maybe by doing that now, that might have freed itself up. Because you know, I've had toys in the past where when the motor's sat, it's where the middle bit's against the brushes, it just gets tarnished there, so it doesn't work. But then by turning it a little bit, it then starts working again, and then I think it cleans everything up because it's spinning so fast. I wonder now, would that work? While I'm waiting for the soldering line to heat up, I'm just going to put the batteries back in. Oh, steering wants to work now. Listen, it's kicked in. But why is it just going crazy? That doesn't sound healthy. Right, okay. Well, the motor there is working. You can hear it's working. Do you know what? Is that because I've put it in that place though? So it thinks it's on. Let's try that again. No, that doesn't sound good. Okay. But anyway, I think by turning the motor, that's freed up the motor side of it. Okay, we can give that a nice clean up if we get it working. So let's start, I think, with the steering. So it looks like there's some sort of potentiometer on the top here. And whilst we're unscrewing this, let's give a shout out to the people that definitely don't screw me over, and that is the My Mate Vince Masses. This month they consist of kitdigital.com, Kip Hakes, Max Rokotansky, Having Fun Repairs, Ellensburg Amplifier Repair and Service, Will Michaelis, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeebs.com, King Kurd from Lowbook Auto Sales, DJVG, Stuart Park, Ellis Garbett, Pigsy, My Mate Vince Fan Club, Braden Butts from Connecticut, Kenneth Blenstrup Sorensen, and Simba Tinabu. A big massive thank you to each and every one of you for your long-term continued support. When I set up this, I thought it would just be one every now and then. Can't believe I have such long-term supporters, so massive thanks, guys. Anyway, now let's have a look at this steering section. Here we go. Now, is it all going to fall apart on me? No, not too bad. Let me take a picture of that so I know how it was originally. Okay, so this turns by this bottom one here. You can see it just goes through this little hole. So we can take this out. If we get it working, we can give that a nice good clean because it's all just loads of hair around these bits. So the potentiometer must report where this is here. Yeah, there you go. Annoyingly, that's got a tiny little break in it there. Just a little hairline break just along there. Which is going to be the case with gears this old. But you know, we might get away with that. It might be okay. I might have a tiny gear for that anyway. So I think what we need to do is put the batteries back in and physically turn this, and we should be able to see where it stops and starts working, I think. Oh, the lights do work, look at them. Excellent, fantastic. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There. So we want to find the happy place in the middle. Okay, now. Yeah, I think that might be loose. So the trim, I don't know if that trim's working. Seems to be very hit and miss. Oh, here we go. Yeah, look, the trim's working. Doesn't go very well that side though. Yeah, that's very loose. Now, I wonder, is this roughly in the middle? Yes, it is, yeah. So, when we do right, and this turns, trying to understand what part this plays here, apart from, is this just to do with the trim? Well, the motor's certainly freed itself up now. So all we have to do is sort out that gear, and I think the steering will be working. Shame about that trim though. That's better. Oh, and it is proportional, listen. Nice, okay. Right, I think we'll be able to fix that bit. Now let's see what's happening here. Right, that's not going to work. There's no strength there, so there's major problems with the gearbox in there. So let's turn this off. I think the steering is going to be fixable. I'm just not sure about, I need to find out what's going on with the gears in here. Well, look at that, it's on springs. So is that acting as a little bit of suspension? Well, not really, I suppose it's screwed down, so it's not, is it? Oh, maybe you're supposed to have the screws a little bit looser, so that they are. Maybe they were looser, maybe I didn't try tightening them up. Maybe the screws weren't done up completely tight to allow it to have that bit of a bounce. Because you see this comes up and down, and it will hit this and then go back down again. And look at that, what's that? Oh, this is the gear select here. 1 second. Do you see here? This is the gear select switch and it's on a little fork. So it's going to move here. I wonder whether it's just slipping in between 2 gears then. Right, so that's definitely freewheeling. It's definitely 1-wheel drive. It wasn't designed as 2-wheel drive. This is the driving wheel here. So now, oh, and here, this is where that bar goes in. This, just in here. Let me zoom in. So this is how it changes gear. That thing there. Let's get some tweezers. There, that slides across. Right, so when you slide that across, it puts it onto, let's have a look. So when it's here, it's driving this one here, the bigger one. And when you put it over, it needs to go more. Maybe that's the problem, it's in between. There we go. Now it's driving that one there, but is this independent of here? Oh, sorry, no, it's right, yeah, because look, you've got a smaller gear here and a bigger gear at the bottom. Let's get that hair out of the way. And then when it's over this side, you've got the smaller gear here and the bigger gear here. Yeah. Okay. So although they're on the same axle, yeah, of course, they're different size gears, so that would affect it, just like on a bike. Right, okay. A bike with gears. So why is that not? I mean, that's going around freely here, but it shouldn't be, should it? Listen, it's kind of skipping. Look. So I think there's going to be a problem with the gears from here, this motor. Let's undo these screws here. I reckon it's probably the one that's attached to the motor again that's gone. Which if it is, will be a good thing because they're going to be the easiest ones to find. Might even have some. So this is the one that changes gear. Now I can see plastic here. I think. What's down here? I don't think that's anything but a paper. Right, so is the problem with this one here? Where's it skipping? Ah, this gear's broken here, look. Ah, that's annoying. If you have a look here, this gear is broken right the way through there. Do you know what? I need to remind myself to stop buying 80s toys because the gears have just all cracked. What happens is they shrink. The axle doesn't shrink, but the plastic shrinks. And then it's got nowhere to go, so it has to break. So that plastic will be a fraction of a millimetre smaller than it was originally. And that's enough to make it crack on the axle. Right, okay, so that's broken there. So I presume, yeah, that's just turning freewheeling now. So that's not going to do anything. That one's okay though. So that's why the back wheels are not being driven only when there's no strain on them. As soon as there's strain, it's just easier for this to spin here. Right, we might be able to, if we were to glue that onto there, would that be okay? Or not? Should be, shouldn't it? Because that's being driven from here. Yeah, I don't think that's been designed like a clutch to give. There's nothing on there that's going to give, is it, if you're going to stop the wheels from turning? Because there's no spring or anything on that. So I think that that can be possibly glued onto here. Right, okay, so that's that. Is this one okay? This one should be okay because it's not on an axle. Yeah, I think that's going to be okay. Now let's have a look at the motor. Look at all the capacitors on that motor. 3 lots of them. Why did they use that rather than just one big one? Or are they doing different things? This one's going between here and the body. This is between here and the body. And this one's in between both of them. Right, now is this broken? No, it's not. No, okay. And that's on nice and tight. Look, I can't pull that off. Excellent. Right, so that again may be repairable. Maybe. I'm just going to put some gloves on. Right, so I'm going to turn my attention to the transmitter now, because with this one here, I'm not going to be able to change the gear on that. I'm definitely not going to have them, but I'm going to try to glue that to that and the axle. That may start working, possibly. When it comes to this one here, I'm going to actually see if I've got one. Hopefully I might have one of them. You can see how loose that comes off now compared to that one there, which doesn't come off. This one comes off really easy. So I'll see if I've got one of them. But so far I'm kind of happy with that. I think it might be okay. I think the initial problem where it didn't kick in is just because the motor has been sat so long in the one position that this one here was just dead. We had to put it onto a fresh bit to get it to start working. I think now that motor will be fine. I mean, you could take it off here and here, and then unsolder it, take it off here, and that will take... No, you don't have to unsolder it. You can just... Should we quickly do it now? We should see how dirty it is on the inside. Oh, it is soldered there though. Okay, let's unsolder that. So you see those black bits there? If they were sat against a dirty bit on here for ages. In fact, let's see if we can see if it's a black bit on here. No, it's not too bad really, is it? But if that black bit there was just sat against that other thing, it wouldn't conduct through. Yeah, I'm going to leave that. I don't think it looks too bad at all. And we know it's working now. So we need to pop this motor back together, and I'm confident the steering will be working if we can get a little gear to fit on the motor. I'm sure the steering will be fine. We need to glue the back gear on the rear gearbox, because I'm definitely not going to have that specialised gear there, but hopefully by gluing one to the other one, it will be okay. And lastly, what we have to do is now find out why the transmitter is intermittent. It's probably going to be a battery issue, but let's just check that out now. Here we go. And because they would have been alkaline batteries that leaked, the acid in the vinegar will neutralise it. Actually, there's a bit of corrosion up here as well. Do you know what? I think it might have been more likely that it was this one here that was stopping it from working, because that spring at the end is not too bad at all. So yeah, I would say it was this one. So I'm just editing up this video now, and we're about 30 minutes in. I'm looking at the total time, and we've got another hour 20 minutes to go. But realistically, there's nothing really more to show you. I'm cleaning up this battery terminal here. It's the positive one that's caused the problem, not the negative spring. It was the positive one, and that's why when I spun the batteries, it would come and go. By cleaning up this terminal, it starts working perfectly, so the transmitter is fine. I will zoom in just to show you the chips on the actual car themselves, because some people would like seeing them. They're NEC chips. What's quite nice is around all the capacitors, they've used little heat shrinks just around each leg to stop any possibility of shorting with other components. So a little bit of care has gone into this. All I have to do now is get my bag of gears and put a new gear on the motor. What I have to do is, I still haven't bought myself any small little drill bits, but I have now. Not when I was doing the video, but I was sick of saying it in videos and not buying them, so I've bought myself some small drill bits from Amazon now. 0.3 millimeters up to I think 1.2 millimeters, so they're going to be super small, but perfect when you want to enlarge the hole in the middle of the gear. So I have got a gear that's exactly the same, apart from the axle hole in the middle is too small. So in this video, I'm widening it up just using some tweezers. Literally just keep on turning the tweezers, trying to take more and more plastic out of the middle, but it would be a lot easier for me if I had the correct drill bit. And now with some strategic thumps of the long nose pliers, you can see that the gear goes on nice and snugly. That isn't going to come off anytime soon. Always use the tool for its intended use is what I was told. And as you can see from my videos, using tweezers to enlarge the hole and long nose pliers as a hammer, it's something I do agree with. So next up, we have to put this steering gearbox back together. I'm going to be adding some synthetic grease in there just to try to quiet it down a bit. Obviously, it's still going to be massively noisy. You heard the screeching coming from the motor earlier, but it's going to help. Once that's done, I turn my attention to the rear gearbox, where I have to glue that gear that changes to sliding gear, let's call it. Now, with this one here, again, the nylon's kind of smooth and slippy, so I don't think it's going to super glue too well. So what I'm doing is I'm roughing up both the surfaces, again, with an intended tool, the tweezers. And by having a nice rough surface, the super glue is going to have a key to grip hold off. If I do that on both sides, I'm hoping that will work. As well as that, I'm using Q-Bond, which sticks, as it's advertised, rock hard. And by doing that, I'm kind of building up a little lip, a little beveled edge around the gear where it meets onto the other gear, and hopefully that way then it will give it a bit of extra strength, so it's kind of super glued and Q-bonded. It's never going to be as good as new, but really there's not much I can do here. Obviously, people are going to say 3D printer. Yes, if you could get the definition, that's small. A lot of people say you can, but equally as many people say you can't, so I don't really know whether or not you can do gears this small. Everything always looks big on the TV, but when you compare it to the size of my fingernail, then you can kind of get an idea about how small these teeth really are. So I'm not sure whether the definition would come there. When you watch other YouTube videos, you do see people making their own gears out of resin. So what they do is they use like some sort of plasticine, like blue tack type stuff to get the imprint for the gear, and then they fill it with some sort of resin. I've seen one where they file a little bit of aluminium in there to give it strength. So there probably is ways that you can make gears. But that's it really. Then it's just a case of putting it all back together, giving it a bit of a clean, and there's not really anything else that's interesting. So yeah, next time you see this, it will be put back together. I'll play a little bit of music for this next bit here. You can kick back and relax, and we'll see it hopefully at the end, fingers crossed, working.
Bubblegum fights on the third floor. Comedy specials at 8. Fishing rod in the quiet view. The what I caught wouldn't be big enough for you and lie and say I did great. to something that feels so big. And all that I'm left with's a dry throat. I lose my head when you call me up and ask if I'm doing okay. Was it easier when I was younger? Did the ones I love seem rosier? Or was it all the trick you played on me? Nowadays we're all so spread out, a time zone for each of our hearts. When tragedy strikes, will we mend up, come together to say our goodbyes, or will we stay apart and leave it all unsaid? Was it easier when we were younger? Did the ones we love, they seem rosier? Or was it all the trick we played on each other?
Just pushing the springs out a bit because the batteries feel a little loose. That's better. Look at the interference, you can see these going a little bit crazy. You know what, it is proportional, because if you watch when I go a small bit on the speed as well. More, right, okay, that one's working. I just want to see now if I can get it into high gear. Will it work now? It might just need to be worn in, because remember with the Q-bond it was kind of at a slight angle there over the gears, so it might just need to be worn in. Yeah, there you go. Getting there now. So hopefully that will break away the bits of plastic that are in the way. And you can do both of them at the same time. Yeah, it's going to work. Right, okay. It's quite late here now in the UK. We are 12:30 at night. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of research on this little car, and then I'm going to finish up the video tomorrow and we can try driving it around the house. But I'm well happy with that. Right, it's the next day now, so I can make some noise and check this out. It's got a nice little drift on it. And watch this when you go into reverse. Now, woo! So good thing about it is it's got a very nice turning circle and it is responsive. So when it comes to the trim does work. I can get it going in a straight line, but then as you start to play it left and right again, it will just go off trim again. So it tends to not center itself properly. So if you have a look now, you can see the wheels are ever so slightly to this way. If I was to trim it, then, hold on, I can trim it that side, yeah, and I can make them go straight. But then as I'm starting to play it, they will go the other way. They're not centering properly. So as you're kind of using it, you can get it going in a straight line, like now, but then if I start going, if I start turning and stuff, what will happen is it will just go off again, and now it's not trimmed anymore. You see it's pulling to the right, so really the trim just seems to be all over the place. If I then put the trim to the left, it will then just be perfect, start playing it, and then it will start trimming off to the left. So it's not ideal. There's a nice bit of wheel spin when you hear that noise. I like doing those little drifts. But what is nice is how manoeuvrable this is, and it's got a lovely turning circle. So obviously nowadays, no, it's not good. But you need to remember that this is from the 1980s. I can't find any information about this. There is loads of different types, different designs of cars for sale from this company, but yet there's no YouTube videos about them saying what era they're from or anything like that. From what I can gather, this is 1980s. I don't think it's late 70s because the remote controls, the transmitters here look different. So I think this is from the 1980s. But if you know, pop it down into the comments below, because I'm sure there would have been quite a few of you that would have had this model or maybe a similar model, because these would have been things that you would have bought in the toy shops, and it would have been an ideal Christmas or birthday present. So yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a massive thumbs up, and hopefully I will see you all very soon. Take care, everyone.